And welcome everyone to another episode of Everything is Attitude. Welcome, Rosemary, and welcome to two very special guests, Bill and Liz. How are you guys today?
We are great, thank you.
Great.
Doing really well. Thanks for having us.
Rosemary, you want to sort of introduce the topic of the show, and then we'll get right into it.
I will get right in there. Hi, everybody. I'm here once again with my co-host, Al Pisano. We have guests. I have no idea who they are, really. I don't know anything about them either, so I'm in the dark. But Liz and Bill.
Correct.
Liz and Bill. And I also, out of the camera shot, because she's got no makeup on, she says, and she doesn't want to be seen, is my friend Mary Lou, who's come for dinner, and we've got short ribs with orange and all that good stuff. Anyway, so that's when we've done here, though. But getting back to why are we here? What are we doing? Right. All right. Welcome again to Everything is Attitude. And today we're going to talk a little bit about people's attitudes and how people can cope with, when they come to a crossroads, when they come to a fork in the road, you're trolling along nicely or not nicely, doing what you're doing with life, and all of a sudden there's a fork in the road, and it might be that you have to end a relationship. It might be that you get sick. It might be that you do something about moving or a new job or whatever. There are lots of reasons why people do come to that fork in the road, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And I understand a little bit from Al that Bill and Liz, I'm going to try to remember your names. Forgive me if I say these guys, it means I've forgotten your names. We're going to talk a little bit, because I understand from Al that you two are actually at the point of that you're coming to a crossroads, or you feel that you're coming to that crossroads, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
So I'm just then now going to hand it over to you, both of you, to tell us your story, to tell us why it is you're here. If you can hear panting in the background, it is not Mary Lou. It is actually the puppy, who is getting really hot and bothered once again. I've got an old puppy here that is so gorgeous and darling, and he's really a pain in the butt. But anyway, let's go to the two of you. And why don't we hear from you? Why did you decide to come on the show? What is it you feel that we might be able to help you with?
So I'll start. We're really excited to be in this space. It feels very encouraging and welcoming. So thank you for allowing that. We've had a few forks in the road, or what may feel quicksand in the road.
Oh dear.
And so what is really excellent about that is that as two people who have decided to be life partners, we've been able to manage the ups and downs. And so once again, we have two kiddos who are twins, and they're 10. And it leads us often to what would be the next step. And what we find ourselves at this point is a sense of wanting to go back home, or to experience actualizing a dream we've had. And so we're at the fork in the road again of not really knowing which way to go. Okay. And one of the things that pushes us is our desire to be in alignment with our life goals, but also being able to do it in a prosperous way with our finances.
Well, you have two children.
Rosemary, are you there? Did we lose you?
Yeah, I'm here, right here.
So I see her also.
You see Rosemary? I'm just gonna drop her out and put her right back in here. So let's see if I can do this here.
I just see you. Did we both have to wear a blue shirt?
So I don't see Rosemary. Do you guys see Rosemary?
I see her.
Rosemary, are you able to? Can you ask her to drop out and come back on the call, because I don't?
Me.
I don't think she'll be on the actual live
Al,
broadcast if
I
she
can
doesn't
hear-
do that.
I can hear you. Can you
She
tell
can hear
Al
you.
I can hear
Okay,
you.
so
Don't
can
hear you.
Rosemary, can you drop out and come right back in
You do realize this is a technical glitch, and I'm not the technical
if she knows how to do that?
So
She said that it is a technical glitch.
Yes, it is a technical glitch.
Oh,
Yes.
And she will
She
try.
does not know how to do that per
Watching
se,
live
but she's
here
going to
going on.
try.
Right.
Okay.
Can you hear her?
I'm coming.
She can hear me, but she's not actually. I don't think she's on the broadcast because I'm not seeing her. So,
She
Bill,
dropped out right now.
yeah, so let's see if she can come right back in. Bill, can you kind of continue and add to, sort of what maybe add to what Liz is talking about the situation? And you've moved a few times, right, guys? So this is nothing new to you. But can you maybe add a little bit to what Liz was saying? Okay, Rosemary, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly well, but I can't see you.
She can't see you.
Oh, she can't see
But
me?
I don't need to see you as long
That's
as I
right.
can hear you, and as long as other people can hear.
Yeah, which I think everybody can. So
let's just carry on then.
okay, great. So Bill, you I just asked Bill to add a little bit to what Liz was saying. Go ahead.
Sure. So, as we come to this fork in the road, I'm in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, all right, so which path is going to flow the best? Which path has shown up for us? And then I start to think about our past experiences too, and some of those, I chose a path on a fork that I feel like perhaps I chose a wrong path, because it didn't work out. Like coming out here, even we did a lot to come out here.
Where is out?
Iowa.
Where
Iowa. So, we both have jobs out here. They're very good jobs. We live in a beautiful town, beautiful house, beautiful area, but it just doesn't fit for us on a lot of levels. And at the same time, a lot of things are actually coming at us financially and house related, and it's like saying it's time to get out of here like yesterday. I was talking to Al about this as well, and we are at a place now where we do have two possible paths, a fork, but for me it's like it's not here. I chose this path in the past, so I'm starting to actually ask myself, all right, how can I trust my judgment? Because I've come to another fork now. And I want, I'm kind of like at the place where I'm 40s, and I do have two kids, and I want to be in a stable environment, especially for them, with changing schools and everything. But at the same time, I want to be in an environment where I can prosper. So I'm trying to figure out the fork. And yet, I made some decisions that I'm not so sure about in the past. So I'm challenging my sense of judgment in a way. How can I look past that, or is there any way to kind of trust, say, flow, intuition? How do I wait?
Well, I think you've now used the word trust a few times. So I think that what we have to understand when people do seem to make, I don't think there's, let me first clarify, I don't think there's ever a wrong decision. I think we're always where we're meant to be, even though it might not feel right. Wherever we are, it's like you get in the car and you're lost. And I always feel that, you're lost for a reason. There's either something on the road that you're meant to see or meant to experience, or you're lost because if you'd have gone the right way, you'd have headed into traffic or maybe even an accident or so on. And I don't personally believe that anybody is ever, not in the right place. And I think that, it seems to me that, you feel that you feel that you're in the wrong place right now. But, the Buddhists have this great, attitude. They believe that, you sort of on your travels, and I'm talking about travels through life now, on your travels, you can, you're walking along, you see a nice field, you sort of pitch your tent in that field. You stay in that place until it feels until you feel ready to move on, or until it's right. You take all the good from that place, and when it feels right, then you move on to the next place and the next place. It sounds a little bit like I'm suggesting that you should be transient, which I'm not saying that at all. You've got to,
It's certainly appearing that way. It's certainly appearing that way, currently with
yeah, well, that it
family and
sounds,
stuff like that. We've kind of been that.
yeah, it sounds to me that this is what's been happening to you. You sort of, you've been on the move, and I think that it's been in this. My feeling is I think it's been a good education for your children as well, because sometimes when kids are in the same environment day in day out, year in year out, it's hard for them then when they're older to have that change, to struggle to try new things and so on. But so I think that I don't feel that whatever you've been doing is bad, but I hear what you're saying about you now need to make a change, or you feel that you need to make a change. Let me just ask you this. Do you both feel this way?
In what way?
We have to
that you need to move. Do you feel
Yeah.
you both feel
yeah.
that you're
It's definitely.
that you're in the wrong place?
Absolutely.
You both
Well,
feel.
I think it's like you said, we have really squeezed the life and the goodness and the value of what just the wisdom of being here and experience with work and friendships and all that. We've definitely squeezed all that out.
Career-wise, even.
Career-wise.
It worked out for us as far as that part goes, but it's clearly done at this point.
Okay. So, this is a show about attitude, right?
Yeah.
So how is your attitude? I mean, you sound unsure of yourselves. We mentioned, I mean, the word trust has been mentioned a few times here. It seems to me that you're lacking in that trust in your own decision making right now. Is that right?
Sure, it is. So, personally speaking, I feel like I have, personal strength and power to accomplish like any goal and task. However, based on my past decisions at these forks, I'm starting to say, well, okay, perhaps I'm not choosing the right path. So I'm questioning.
Yeah.
I'm questioning things, and then I have these two clear paths that are showing up right now. I mean, one of them is like, you're kind of like a dream and adventurous, and the other one's like a safer choice.
Well, kind of.
It's a little safer than the other for certain.
Well,
but they're both good.
I think it sounds to me like you've lost your confidence in your own shall I make the right choice? You've lost confidence in your own decision making a little bit.
Yeah.
And although you've had a very positive attitude, your attitude now is, yes, but what if?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
What if, oh gosh, what if we make the wrong choice again? What if we mess up again? What if we try, different things and it doesn't work? And that starts to erode your confidence, and then, then your attitude becomes inevitably less and less positive, right?
That's
Al, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, and I think for you guys too, and I've had conversations about this. It's also it's the sort of the fear of what could fail if you make sort of the wrong decision. And I know that you both are amazing parents, and that weighs on you a lot. Correct me if I'm wrong. That their livelihood is greatly affected by this decision too. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, of course it is.
Right. Well, I actually, let me then say what I'm because I'm feeling very strongly, and I know this is not a show about my psychic feelings and all that, but I feel very strongly here that when we have children, our first and foremost thought has to be for them. Mm-hmm. And up to the age of 10 or 11 or something, I'm not quite sure of the school years, how it works in America, because I'm British, but by the time kids are 11, they then move to a senior school, and then it becomes very important to be much more stable.
Right.
And I feel that you're at that place where you really need to be looking much more at the stability of a thing, at the stability of your decisions, rather than being, adventurous. I think you're both adventurous people, but I think when you're looking at your children, you have to have an attitude, and this is only my opinion, and other people out there might say, oh, come on, adventure is the best thing for kids. There are people who take their kids on sailing around the world for 2 or 3 years. So I'm not one of those people. I'm not sure that you are either, but I feel very strongly at the moment that your kids need that stability, and they need the stability of something that is familiar to them, and taking them out of a too familiar environment. What do you think? Let's talk about your kids' attitudes. What do you think your kids need in order for them to retain a positive attitude? What, as parents, do you feel that you need to give your children? Because we're about recipes for life. The recipe for life is, how can we keep that positive attitude and that positive, sort of feeling that we're doing the right thing. But as parents, and I've been on the phone with my daughter most of the day today, talking about dealing with situations where I've been boosting her attitude. As parents, it's not only our attitude. You two sound like you've got a very positive attitude, but I think it's also about your children, and how can we help our children to have that positive and safe environment where they can grow with the right and the positive attitude. What do you think you need to be giving to them? What recipes would we discover that they would need? Am I making any sense to you guys?
Yes.
Of course. So on those forks, it's pretty clear that one is that, the other's
adventure.
It's not that. So
and they're very vocal. They tell us that.
We sense that as well.
They're very what?
They're vocal. They have told us that. Like we've in our attempts as adults researching, we watch some international house shows, and just to get a sense of like what it's like abroad, and places like Amsterdam or Valencia, Spain, even Bristol. And then when we began to shift the conversation of like, hey, I wonder how Colorado is, they're like spiritual beings, and they would say, yep, that's it. They're like, no international, we want to be near family. We want to be in the same school. We want a familiar community. Like they're communicating to us. And
so it sounds to me
so they do actually want to go there too.
Yeah.
But they actually want to go for like the summertime.
Let's go in the summer. Let's like go do that.
Okay, here's the thing with parents, all right? And it's difficult. You should never let your kids tell you what you should or shouldn't do. However, you've already said they're very vocal. You include them very much in the family and in family decisions, obviously. And I think it pays us as parents to listen to our children, especially as they're older and they're sensible and they have had all this experience of travel and so on.
And they're 10. They're 11 next week.
So they are at that age.
Yeah.
So they basically do know what they feel comfortable with. And I think that we've got a difficult situation here, because I think you two are leaning towards the adventure. And I think your kids are saying, but hold on here. We're at that point of changing schools, becoming, I don't know the school system, becoming seniors or whatever. What is that, Mary Lou?
They're going to middle school next year.
They're going to be put in an environment where, if I'm assuming you want your kids to do well as far as their education is concerned, and will they have that same stability and that same educational stability in a in a foreign school. And of
Right.
course, you know as well as I do, I mean, everybody's out there screaming, no, of course they won't. I mean, you don't have to be brilliant to know that kids will not have the same sense of stability if you fly them halfway across the world. It's not only a different country, it's a different culture, it's a different language. They have a lot to learn. And so everything is attitude. What is your attitude towards your children? Or is your attitude much more leaning towards, hey, let's have adventure, it'll be okay? Or are you going to, I'm going, oh dear, I almost said something, maybe I'm not sure.
Say it, say
I'm
it.
going to say it anyway, then all right then. So I'm going to say, okay, parents need to be adults. Parents need to be grown-ups because the kids can't be. So it's our job to guide them and steer them. And it sounds like your kids, although they're adult, you know, you two need to be the adults, and you need to think what is best for them and what is sensible for them, and where they will feel at this moment in time more comfortable. In another 6 or 7 years, you two could go herring off around the world as much as you like, as long as you like, and as easily as you like, and they can choose to come with you or they can stay where they are. But is this really, you know, my feeling is that your attitude is, you're torn because you're thinking about what you would like to do, and I think it's time that you were grown-ups thinking about what the kids need. Parents, sorry about that, guys.
No,
And you could go
Talk
away.
away. We're listening. We're learning.
Here's the thing: you could go away and do what on earth you like, whatever you want. So of course you can.
No.
You don't have to listen to me. But we've got two 11-year-olds, because let's face it, they are 11. We've got two 11-year-olds here who are both in agreement that this is what they need. It's not like one is telling you one thing and one is telling you something else. It's not like one is saying, I want adventure, and the other one is saying, no, I want to stay here. Then you would have a little bit of a dilemma. But I think at this point with your 11-year-olds, you should have an attitude of wanting to trust them, wanting to trust their instincts, and certainly wanting to do what is right for them. Can you honestly, hand on your hearts? I can't see you. I want to look into your eyes, but can't see. Oh, I'll do it my way instead then. I'll look at you anyway. Hand on hearts, right? Hands on hearts. Can you honestly say that you could find real stability in a world which has no stability right now, all over the world? Italy is, politically, or in so many different countries, there's so much going on. Can you, hand on heart, say that, I'm going to say Colorado is more or less stable than, let's say, Spain or Italy or France, or you mentioned Bristol, so I take it that means Britain.
Yes.
That wouldn't be so bad, because at least they'd have the same language. But let me tell you, the school system is so different than it is here in the States, and they are used to the school system here. So hands on heart, good attitude now, positive attitude as parents, not as people,
Parents.
not as career people, not as people wanting to find your career or your place. Bill, you said I'm 40-ish, but you're a daddy first, aren't you? Or should be anyway. Only my opinion. And you can come off this show and say, well, she talks a load of nonsense, that's for sure. You do whatever you like, but this is my feeling, is the attitude should right now, and anybody out there listening to this who you've got children, your attitude should be about what is best for your children and what makes your children happy, what makes them feel secure, especially in this time when we hear on the news, and I'm sure your 11-year-olds hear it, my 5-year-old hears it. You know, you're on the news and you hear bombings here and shootings there and this and that and the other. And I know that America is as bad as everywhere else, but at least you know where you're going. At least you know what you're doing. You can speak the language. You can understand the system. It should be about what is secure for your children. This is what your attitude should be right now. You can still explore over the internet. You can still have your adventures, doing your vacations and all the rest of it. And in 5 years' time, 6 years, 11, they're 11. So when they're 16 or 17 and they're going off to college, you two can go off and have fun and play. That's
so you're saying that because we grew up where as children we were responsible with our families. We grew up rather quickly in our homes. And for me, it was also, I had this international component. I'm from Ecuador, so there was a lot of that influence. But we both also grew up with our families, at that extension. And that was a very positive impact on us no matter what.
So you see, here is your recipe for life. Your recipe for life is to focus on your children. How do you do that? You look at them and you see what is the right environment for them, educationally and family-wise. Maybe your family's in Ecuador. Maybe you should shoot off to Ecuador then. But I don't feel that. I feel your family is closer here. I think it's in this country. I think the children have much more chance of stability. So let's look at the children. When you're looking for a recipe here, it should be all about the children. What makes them more secure, what makes them feel safe is what is best. Family is extremely important to them. Friends are extremely important to them. And I feel, I don't know why that I should say Colorado, because I don't know what's going on for you in Colorado, but it seems home to me when I'm talking to you. It feels like that's home. Does that make sense to you guys?
It does.
Yes.
You just said it then. You had family and it made all the difference.
Yeah.
Personally, you know, this would be the recipe for me. Stop looking at yourselves. Stop looking at your job. Stop looking at what you want. Because quite frankly, when you're a parent, if it's necessary to become a road sweeper, that's what you do to give your kids the best that you can give to them. Yeah. You'll have your time and you'll have your fun and you'll have your adventures. You've already had adventures, and you can take vacations and have those, you know, ventures. Again, this is simply my opinion. It has, you know, and you can, you know, take it or leave it. It's simply my opinion, and I'm coming from a place where I'm a parent and I'm a grandparent, and all I want for my child and for my grandchild is for them to feel, really to feel inside of themselves secure. And this is, you know, you guys need to have an attitude of not what kind of job you can do. I know we've got to have good jobs and so on, but I don't feel you have an issue at all with work, even whether you stay in this country or wherever you go. You know, it'll work out for you. Work will work out for you because you're both smart, bright, and intelligent people. So the issue of financial security, I think, is much more stable, you know, where you know, and when you see your kids settling down, and when you see your kids feeling stable, secure, and safe, that makes your world as parents hugely better, hugely different. Al, do you want to come in here and say anything?
Just as you were talking, and Bill, you know my situation. You know, I took my family from Long Island and came out to Colorado. Talking to you a lot through that process, and both Christine and I, my wife Christine and I, inevitably decided that as much as there were things sort of up in the air, and I left a very good job there, as you all know. We came out because it was the main reason we came out was because it was the best environment for our kids. And I know you guys are amazing parents, as I said, and I know you have two incredibly intuitive children as well. And you guys center all of your decision making around them. And I think that's always what, even when I doubt sometimes that if whether I made the right decision or went down the right fork or not, I always come back to this is what's best for my kids, and it's manifesting itself um, every day by seeing who they're interacting with, seeing the schools they're in, the community that we're in, the stability, like Rosemary said, that they have, the ability to go into the mountains here is amazing. Like just so many different things that are best for my kids, and I found it's best for me and Christine as well. So that followed, like Rosemary said, that followed with what was best for my kids. Now, in turn, becomes what's best for us in a lot of different ways.
I think that sometimes you jump into the void, and I always say to people, it's like jumping off a cliff. You hold your nose, you close your eyes, you jump off the cliff, and you have to trust. And we're back to trust again, Bill, because you're saying you don't trust your own, you don't trust yourself to make these decisions, which is why I'm saying to you then, if you don't trust yourself to make those decisions for you and Liz, trust yourself that Alice said now several times, you're good parents. That is the only thing you can trust in, doing what is right for your children. And what is right for your children is stability, safety, giving them what they know at the moment so they can learn and grow. Surround them with family if you can, because I am my grandson's only family, and I am my daughter's only family. My grandson Samantha was telling me, he at school, he's 5.5 years old, and they make these little books at school, just small little books, and inside the book, on 3 of the books, it was hearts and sort of big red hearts, and he drew a picture of himself, and he drew a picture of his mummy, and then he wrote underneath mummy and Reese. And then Samantha said in the 4th book, on one of the books, there's a picture of 3 people, and it's Mama and Reese and Mosey, that's me, and it's hearts all around them. And I was just so thrilled, because that tells us that these are the people he's safe with. And even though they live in New York and I live in Florida, I speak to him every day and so on. And it's very important to give your children that stability. And if you have family who can not only give the kids support, but they give support to you too, I think that's an important thing. So you've got to, I think you don't have to, I just said you've got to. I don't think any parent has to do anything. As a parent myself, and as a grandparent myself, and as an ardent follower of doing the best that you can for your children, giving them better than you ever had, giving them that stability as much as you can. Unfortunately, I was not able to give that stability to my daughter, except in that she always knew, and still knows now, that she can rely on me completely to make the right decisions for her in whatever situation. If she needs me, I'm always there for her. And I think that if you don't trust yourselves to make this decision, trust yourselves as parents. And trusting yourselves as parents here's the recipe that you need. You need to look at them, and the first ingredient is, okay, what is it they need? They need love, which obviously they have. They need security. They need to feel safe. And in order to do that, those 3 ingredients, you mix them up. What is going to give them the security, the love, and the safety? Well, being with family is obvious. Being all together is obvious. Doing what is right for them and letting them know that you're doing what is right for them. And the truth of the matter is, life goes so fast anyway. in 5 years' time, wherever you go, whatever you do, you'll be scratching your head thinking, oh, God, look how I used to worry about this, that, and the other. And you may have other things to worry about, or you may be, content. As I've said, look for your children first. That is my, strongest advice to you, is to always, and especially with your kids, they're 11 years old, they're intuitive. Twins are special anyway. They connect with each other in a way that most of us don't understand. And if they're both saying to you, this is what we want, I think as parents, you do have to owe it to them to listen to their wants and needs, and to put their wants and needs at this moment in time above your own.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have I upset you now? Are you going to speak to me ever again? Not that it would know any different, because this is the first time I've known you anyway. So if I never hear from you again, it won't make any difference in my life. But Al, what do you think about that?
I think, I've had many conversations with Liz and Bill, and as you were going through a lot of this, I think naturally you guys do that, and you've mentioned a few things in regard to listening to your kids and trusting their instincts and doing what's best for them. I think what happens a lot of times when you have this fork in the road, people sort of flip flop back and forth a lot, and what really truly feels right and what really is sort of necessary, the necessary thing to do or the right path to take, becomes unclear, because you do flip flop and you do start thinking about things too much. But when it comes down to it, and in your instance, I 100% agree with Rosemary, because I followed the same thing when I came out here. If you get down to sort of the root of the recipe, or the root of the solution, it needs to be about what's best for your kids.
And Mary Lou has just pointed something out to me. Do you want to come in here and talk about it, or do you want to say anything?
No.
She's saying no. She's in the corner. But she's actually written out, children will trust their parents, and it's true. Children trust their parents. They don't have much choice, to be honest with you, mostly, but they trust their parents to make the right choices for them. It's the parents' job, and part of the recipe here, that we, whenever possible, don't betray our children's trust. Our children are our future. Our children are the future of this world. And if we can give them the love if I could wrap my children, my daughter and my grandson, if I could wrap them in cotton and keep them safe forever, of course I would do. Having said that, they need, they do need to be challenged, and they do need to, they trust us to give them the right challenges and to put them in the right environment. But we're talking about two 11-year-olds here. They're going to be moving schools. They're going to be challenged. They're bright children, but nevertheless, they're going to be challenged. They're going to be looking for support in those challenges right now. And the best support they can have is their friends and their family and their parents surrounding them, so that they can, achieve whatever it is they can achieve. But they have the very best chance to put them at this age into a situation where the system is different, and the language might be different, or the way of life, because yes, Spain is a beautiful country, but not in every spot, just like America. I mean, there are some wonderful countries out there, wonderful places to be, but not necessarily for our kids' education, not necessarily on a permanent basis, so that my feeling is, have your attitude focus on, stop with the jobs, because I know that you're thinking, well, I can get a good job here, so that's financial security. But what these children need is not so much the financial security. You'll get that anyway, don't worry about that. But what they need more than anything else is the emotional security and the emotional safety that they're going to get, sort of moving them to close to where their family can support them and you.
I agree.
Thank you.
So what do you have to say, guys, now? Are you regretting that you came on this show?
No, so I do understand about the fork, and even thinking about, okay, like, you know what, I don't know what to do because I love adventure and that's always a part of me. And the other one is a safe. I love what you said about, you know, trusting in yourself as a parent. So I definitely know that, like, I'm a really good parent, especially compared to my parents.
Yeah, well, we can all say that, can't we?
Let's put it that way. So I trust in my ability as a parent. I'm very confident in that. So if I use that as a guide,
yes,
it's pretty clear for me.
Are you going to give us an indication of
I think you know. I think you know.
where
So
you kind of lean
the stability of the rocks. Let's put it that.
Yeah.
The Rocky Mountains. The stability. The stability of the family.
I think we want to, as
really what we know.
Yeah, I think for us, I mean, as you look at the recipe for life intergenerationally, it looks like to me that Bill and I, which is maybe why we're together, we've been trying to find that stability. And having children, you know, that's our mobile crossroad. We carry it with us because we're always trying to figure out what do we need to be stable. And with our children,
but Liz, it's also your anchor.
Yes, right. So when you said look at it through eyes of the parent, you know, we're not those kids anymore that need to feel this struggle or the need to find stability. We have it if we want it. So we're so privileged that we can choose. And for that, you helped us to see that we have many ways to see this journey. And it would definitely be an incredible experience to offer that to our children because we can.
I think that, you know, people who are listening to this, people who tune into the show, you know, when we come to a crossroads, it's the same for all of us. We come to a crossroads, and that crossroads can be pretty much anything at all. I mean, the crossroads can be dying. You know, you're about to leave this earth, and that's a journey. We could talk about that journey too. But I think that you know, when we come to a crossroads, I think we have to focus on, first of all, what it is that is really bottom line important to us as individuals. Some people might say that security is important, and I think when you've got children, I think it very much is. Did I lose you guys?
No,
we lost Al.
He's probably coming on.
Okay, all right. So
can you guys hear me?
Okay, so I think that, you know, when you have children, it's very important there's stability. You have to concentrate on your kids. When you don't have kids, or I mean, sometimes it can be, I've got to move here because otherwise I can't get a job in this area or this area. There are lots of different ways that, you know, we can you look at those crossroads, and it's different for every person. But I think if anyone out there coming to a crossroads, see what is the most important to you. Is your family the most important? Is your job the most important?
Mm-hmm.
Is your way of life the most important? It's different for everybody. Once you've figured out what is the most important thing, and with parents, I think it has to be kids first and foremost, but with other people who don't have kids, it can be something different. When you focus on what is the most important thing, the decision making then becomes easier. If it's, you know, your job is the most important thing, then just you know you're going to take that job that's offered, or you know you're going to go to that place where the job is, you know, the better chance of jobs or work or so on. So, you know, I think that it's very important, and every person, you know, has to make up their own mind what is the most important thing. As parents, I think your children are the most important. That would be my advice.
Thank you.
Do you have anything else to say, Al?
No.
Are you
I'll continue to encourage them to make the right decision in my own way too.
Well, I don't want to, this is for Bill and for Liz. I don't want to be that person who forced you into a decision.
Oh no.
I'm hoping that what I did
We're
was I just opened your eyes to see, for you to get a clearer picture of what it is that you perhaps should be focusing on, and having the right attitude and the positive attitude to focus on your children and be parents first. You've got to be parents first. My daughter, when she was a teenager, and we sort of mother-daughter thing, you'd knock heads a bit. She'd say sometime, "But I thought we would be friends," and I would say, "I'm your mother first, and then I'm your friend second," because the parent's job is always to be the parent first, and whatever else comes after it. And if you can be friends with your kids, fantastic. If whatever it is, parents, if you chose to have those children and you nurture them and you love them, then it just goes without saying, parents first. I'd like to thank you guys very, very much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And, it was very nice to meet you, albeit in a weird way. I would like to say thanks to Al. I'd like to say thank you to Mary Lou for that little bit of a scribble, which is that, children will trust the parents. And so therefore, it's very, very important that as parents, we do not betray our children's trust. And so Al, thank you very much for coming on the show. Everything is attitude. If you out there are listening and you want to have a go at this, you see, you don't have to be on camera. See this? You don't necessarily have to be on camera to do this. We can do the sound thing as well, because a lot of people are shy about being on camera. You don't even have to give us your real names if you don't want to. If you want to know more about this show, info, Al's going to put it up there, info and everythingisattitude.com. Just, write to that email. If you want to know more about me, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. Very simple, very easy. Do we have any comments, Al, before we?
Nope. A couple people. Yeah. Well, we have someone said, "Good evening, folks. Enjoying the talk. Thank you so much." From Jeff. Megan says, "Hi, Rosemary. Thank you for all you do." My sister was on watching the show.
Okay. Okay, then. All right. Well, all right. So then, thank you, Al, my fabulous co-host. Al's email is
Al@alpisano.com.
Al at Alpisano, Pisano, Pisano, alpisano.com. Mary Lou and I are now going to just have some short ribs and some beautiful fluffy jasmine rice. On the recipe, it's in the cookbook, which is coming out just before Christmas. If you want a copy, let me know. Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. And in the meantime, until I see you guys again, that's went so fast, actually. Until I see you guys again.
It was so rich and meaty. Thank you so much, both of you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. In the meantime, everybody out there, until Al and I see you again, please, 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 please have a very, very, very blessed day.
You're still here.